All right, so every once in a while, I will come across a really bang on, which I think the our British friends like to say, bang on, right? A really awesome, spot on, great comment on social media. This one's on Facebook. Sometimes I'll read them on YouTube. Sometimes I'll read a meme that's amazing. Sometimes I'll read a guy's feed from Instagram or Twitter. There's a lot of red pill guys out there who are just, churning out some amazing content in these days that we're living in. And it's the age of information, man. We have great avenues of information. And then sometimes I'll get really surprised by somebody who just comes out of left field, and somebody who I wouldn't expect to say something like I'm about to read to you guys, and just blow me out of the water, blow my socks off. And it's like sometimes, you'll read just disparaging comments after disparaging comments, lifeless, depressing ideologies and philosophies, and what passes for standards or morals that these people, liberals, leftists, degenerates, whatever you want to call them. And I'm not lumping everybody into the left category, because there's certainly a lot of degenerates in the right, and in every faction, in every political sect, if you will. There is degenerate, evil, messed up people, but usually it's from the left. Usually because I'm red pilled, because I'm coming at it from a red pill's perspective, it's from the left. So I usually won't. I'll just hear boo-boo, like cuckoo caca out of their mouth all the time. Dumb, blue-pilled, feminist, mostly feminist crap, because that's had the most influence on our societies. Feminist crap. To be honest with you, feminist crap, feminist indoctrination has had the most influence on our society socially. How we speak, how we think. Why do we have Biden in? Why do we have these people who are all crazed out about, the virus. Now, maybe the virus is real. Maybe it's a serious damn thing, or maybe it's an agenda. Maybe it's, I don't know, man. We've got the leftist mob, and maybe it's all a coincidence. Maybe it's all coming at the same time. But I know the leftist mob is just really stepping up their game as far as their total overall efforts on, trying to force their equality crap on us, trying to force their, and maybe, some of that's necessary, because there is a lot of racism in America still. So maybe some of that part is necessary, but a lot of the other stuff, maybe just keep to yourself. I don't know. Stop trying to force transgenders down our throat. Stop trying to force all these LGBTQ stuff down our throat. Like, I just don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me. I don't want to hear about what you do behind closed doors. I'm not going to invite you to my dinner party. Like, it's what you want, and it's not going to happen. It's not because I'm judgmental and hateful towards you. It's just because that's not my thing. I'm not into it. I'm not trying to judge you or hate on you. I just don't want to have anything to do with it. You can't force me to like something, or force me to accept something that I don't care about, or I don't want to have anything to do with. It's just like, that's how I feel about most of the leftist stuff, particularly feminism, because feminism is insidiously infiltrating into our social circles and society and ways of thinking vis-a-vis cultures and habits. So I'm for sure always on the lookout for feminist crap. But occasionally, back to my point, occasionally I will freaking get blown away by somebody's comment that's just badass, open-minded, red-pilled, and they don't even know it's red-pilled what they're saying. For whatever reason, they just had a good heart, or they were grown, they grew up around somebody who was intelligent enough to raise them, or something. They had something, because so many people are damaged and so many people are messed up and so many people don't even have a semblance of what's moral or good or righteous, and that's what's so crazy about today's society. And I read comments after comments a lot. I read this stuff. I read red pill stuff. I read feminist blogs. I go to the pages. I go to the websites. I go and I see what people are saying, and it's we really are in a big divide in America. We really are being radically, massively influenced by the extreme left, right, to force their equality crap down our throats. Now, again, like I said, if there's racism, if there's real bigotry, that should be quelled, but it should be quelled in a natural way, not in a way like, oh, join our leftist force. Like, it's really weird when that, and that's what we're dealing with. We have been for years, for really very long time. Anyway, so I'm going to get back to the comment. This is, I don't know how to put this because it's just it just took me aback. It's such a amazing comment. So I'm on Facebook, right? Someone comments, and I have to read. I can't show you because it'll show names, and I can't, I'll be liable. I can't show you the actual text. They might pull the video or whatever. But I'm just going to read what these guys are saying. So Joe, this is from two different guys. I'll say Joe number 1 and Joe number 2, and then I made comments, right? So Joe number 1 says, I think it's more rewarding to pursue life experience than youth and beauty. Right there, what's he saying? He's saying, I think that it's okay to go sow your wild oats. Translation, what this guy's saying. And it's a guy, it's not a female. He says, besides, when two people of the late 30s, early 40s get together, it unlocks the potential to make the ultimate commitment, real estate. Which is a weird thing to say because it kind of alludes to the fact that he's admitting that real estate is a very serious thing to get into a partnership with somebody for. As far as like moving a woman in, because she could potentially take your house through the court system. She could potentially take your income and your house. There's weird shit that goes on, man. And I haven't studied up on that as much as I should. I feel like I need to study more on that, like how exactly that happens and how many examples that we don't, what are the statistics of that happening? I'm talking about literally a woman marrying a man, getting into a contract as far as like the lease on the house or something like that, or even just getting into a general marriage contract, and then when the marriage breaks up, somehow she gets the house, even though the house was he bought the house or something like. It happens. I apologize. I'm not well versed on that. But I think that happens. So I'm thinking maybe he's kind of joking towards that. So I sort of I make a comment after that, and because the first thing he said was totally like modern blue pill, degenerate, amorals type of thinking, like, oh, just go sow your wild oats, just go pursue. It's very rewarding to pursue life experience. Like there's so much you can hide in that term, quote unquote, life experience. Well, what is all that life experience? It's like when girls say, I want to go on adventures with guys. What do they really mean? I want to go get fucked somewhere. That's what they mean by I want to go on adventures with guys. So when he says, quote unquote, life experiences in your youth, what he's really saying is going out, sow your wild oats, drink, have fun, party, pursue sex, pursue women, like do all these things that is immoral and will potentially damage you and ruin you, whatever, right? It's all good because it seasons you or gives you character or some kind of bullshit that he's trying. These leftists they talk about. So I kind of consider him leftist at first, but then he talked about real estate. So I was like, okay, what's he talking about real estate? So I said, or the ultimate. So at the end he says, besides, when two people of their late 30s or early 40s get together, it unlocks the potential to make the ultimate commitment, real estate. Right? So I say, or the ultimate legal/financial mistake when the relationship goes sour, meaning if you get into a commitment with a woman and the relationship goes sour and she takes your real estate, right? You are legally and financially in very hot water, right? And this happens. We hear about it all the time. Guys getting half their stuff and their house taken. Now she's living in the house that he used to own with a new guy, and he's paying the rent, or he's paying alimony or child support and all that. Boy, that's a horror story. That's the ultimate horror stories of horror stories, right? That's just getting flogged in court, right? But then he responds and he says, hence the word ultimate. It's the ultimate commitment. Now, I don't know if he's joking still. He doesn't really give away his position a lot more, but he does say, I think it's more rewarding to pursue life experience than youth and beauty. And he said that in the context of me talking and me sharing something about when women finally want to settle down in their 30s and, in their 20s they're just sowing the wild oats and they want the older successful man. So why should the older successful man settle down with, the older woman, because her market value is plummeting, whereas his market value is going up. And a lot of men don't realize this, is that when you're in your 30s and 40s, you're coming into your own, you're maturing, you're becoming financially wealthy, you're becoming wise, you're becoming more of a man, you're coming into your own in your 30s and 40s. Okay, and you're going up, meaning your market value is going up because you are gaining more skills, you're gaining more resources, you're gaining things that are really considered valuable on the sexual market. Also, men physically, we age better than women as a whole. We age like wine, women age like milk. I think that that's true in a lot of ways for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's probably because women hit puberty a lot sooner than men. Women hit puberty, females hit puberty, I think they start around 13, 14. Men, it's, males, it's more like 15, 16. So it's a few years later. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but it sure seems like there's a lot of men out there who really take care of themselves into their later years, into their later decades. And it really seems like a lot of women don't. I think because maybe they rest on their laurels. A lot of them don't know how to work out, don't know how to eat right, and things like that. And they really are coasting on their looks. They're not coasting on their exercise and their discipline and eating right. They're not relying on that. They're coasting on their looks in the meantime. They're not really investing in their looks. They're just relying on the short-term effects of their looks. They're not investing in their looks, thinking, okay, well, maybe I can push this to 40 as opposed to 30. Maybe I can push this to 45, 50 as opposed to 40. Like, maybe I can really get 5 or 10 more years out of my looks if I really, get my diet and exercise program down right. Some women are waking up to this. I think a lot of women are waking up to this, but I'm not sure if it's specifically for that reason. I think a lot of women just want to look better and they want to be in better shape. And there's a lot of fitness models out there that are influencing, and they're called influencers as well. But anyway, now that I've strayed way far away from the point, let me get back. So it's I shared a post about men having more value. And he replied and says, I think it's more rewarding to pursue life experience than youth and beauty. Again, I'm not really 100% sure what he's talking about here. But he says when two people get together in their late 30s and 40s, it unlocks the potential to make the ultimate commitment real estate. So maybe he's being kind of funny, but he's also kind of sharing what he thinks is that, when people get into their 30s and 40s, they're not, or maybe they're more mature, maybe they can make a better long-term commitment like real estate. Maybe he's alluding to something like that, but also being kind of witty anyway. So that's not the comment that I'm talking about. So I came in and said, or the ultimate legal financial mistake when the relationship goes sour. He says, hence the word ultimate, it's the ultimate commitment. So he is kind of being funny there. But still, again, it's a little dubious on where he really stands, and I'm leaning more towards the left. But then this guy comes, and let me tell you right off the bat, this other guy, this is, what I say, John number 2, whatever. I looked at his profile, and he's got like dyed blue hair. He fits all the descriptions of a leftist soy boy, and maybe he is. But for whatever reason, this comment is red-pilled as fuck. So he comments and he says, sure. He's replying to the other guy who said, go sow your wild oats, go have fun, and then when you're 30 and 40, then you can get back together, or then you can find somebody and it can be magic, or whatever he was trying to say, make that joke about real estate. This guy replies and says, sure, that's a good story to tell the kids you don't have since you're single, that mid-30s adults are still socially adjusted enough after being marginalized, tossed aside, lonely, bored, and cheated on for 15 years to meet up, throw out their baggage, and start over? ? It's an awfully good story. You should write some fairy tales, publish some books, The reality is our current treatment, behavior, and expectations of each other leave most people feeling used, depressed, and worthless. You put two people like that together, all that ever happens is some great times in the beginning, and then baggage weighing the person down. Doesn't handle a normal situation properly, and instead flips the fuck out over something that could be sorted out in 30 seconds of talking. But hey, you write your story, and don't forget, the real fairy tales never ended happily ever after. boy, that's a fucking mountain of a comment, right? He just picks, and like I said, I went to this guy's profile, and he's got blue hair, and he fits all the descriptions of a soy boy, leftist soy boy, like to a T. Like the pictures of the soy boys, if you type in, Google search soy boy meme, frickin', it'll have this guy's picture. Like he fits all those pictures that you type in when that comes up, right? This is a mountain. This is a bomb of a comment. Like, Jesus Christ. He says, that's a good story to tell the kids you don't have, right? Because, of course, you don't have kids if you're out sowing your wild oats until you're 40. You don't have kids. You can't have kids in that scenario. When you have kids, you got to settle down. So he's smart as shit. He knows what it is. This guy's been there. So a lot of these leftists, they just talk shit. They haven't really gone through all the bullshit that they're talking. Like, they talk big, like, yeah, go sow your wild oats. Go have fun, go have sex. It's cool. Like this whole pro-sex feminist movement, like sex positivity. Oh, let's have the slut walk and woo woo woo. Like it's all good, right? This guy's talking from experience. He knows what the fuck he's talking. He's been through it. And this is what our generation is going to have to go through. Our generation has to go through this shit. We've got to go through the backlash of all these sexually promiscuous people, all these toxic, jaded, cold-hearted, cheating, lying, backstabbing, manipulative, narcissist, succubus, gaslighting people, men and women, but we're Red Pill Channel, so we're going to say probably mostly women, because women are the ones out here playing these games, and only the 5% of guys are the ones who are able to play those games with them, right? All the rest of the guys get nothing. We're going to see a rise in incel singleness in the next 20 years if we don't stop something quick here morally within the fabric of our society. There's going to be a ton of really lonely single men because these women are only chasing the top 5%. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're chasing the next woman, or they're patterning themselves and trying to look up to and do the things that the next woman does, and she's doing to the next woman does, and it just goes on, and it's a whole bunch of copycat weirdos, right? Copycat freaks, copycat women who are getting their sex in, and oh yeah, I'm young now, it's all good, but I don't have to worry about a kid until I'm 30. I don't have to worry about settling down until I'm 35, until I start losing my looks. It's like, really though? Is that all it is? Is that all that's going to happen? Is that the only detriment that you're going to have to go through? Not STDs, not abortions, not depression from having abortions, not depression from really catching feelings for a guy that you're not compatible with, and you never would have been in a relationship with if he didn't have a big dick. Okay, there's no repercussions such as STDs. There's no repercussions such as harming yourself physically for whatever reason, whether it's self-harm or whether you drank too much or whether you had anal too hard or something crazy. Like, those are the stories that you don't want to tell your kids. Those are the experience, the shared life, quote unquote, experiences and the adventures that you keep in your closet, right? When really you should be having wholesome adventures, like, hey, I went to China and saw the Great Wall of China and I took pictures. It was amazing. I could tell my kids this, right? That's what people should be doing, but instead they're out fucking. Instead they're out having threesomes. Instead they're out having orgies. Instead they're out, doing OnlyFans and Pornhub. And it's like, this is our generation. This is what our young women are doing. These are the mothers of our next generation. So what are these people going to tell their kids, right? And this guy fucking knows. He probably is a kid from that scenario. He's probably talking about his parents, man. Your parents met at a bar. You hooked up. Oh, now I got this kid. Now I got to fucking, damn, I got to go in and, fucking raise this kid and have a quasi amiable platonic relationship with this woman that I don't even like, that's mean and nasty and trying to get money from me, and she's got a jacked up, jaded personality, and now this woman's the mother of my kid, right? Well, that's the result of, go have fun, right? Go on adventures. I mean, not every time, but yeah, a lot of women are having abortions, 500,000 a year in the USA alone. That's a lot of abortions, man. So she says, or he goes on, so he says, But this is a good point he makes here. He says the mid-30s adults are still socially well adjusted enough after being marginalized, true, tossed aside, true, lonely, true, bored, true, and cheated on, true, for 15 years to meet up, throw out their baggage, and start over, right? Like, what a badass comment. I swear, this is one of the best comments I've read in years. This is a bomb of a comment, man. This guy's freaking been there. This guy freaking knows it. He says the reality is our current treatment, behavior, and expectations of each other leaves most people feeling used, depressed, and worthless. You put two people like that together, all that ever happens is some great times in the beginning. He knows what he's talking about, man. That's what happens. Yeah, it's all good in the beginning. And then baggage weighing the person down. Doesn't handle a normal situation properly, and instead flips the fuck out over something that could be sorted out in 30 seconds of talking. So he's just using personal experience, personal examples, man. Yeah, it's great at the beginning, but then what happens when you really get to know that person? What happens when that person's devious side really comes out? What happens when, you thought you knew that person, but then they changed on you? What happens when, everything just gets flip-flopped? You guys really aren't that compatible. Oh, she actually really is kind of a diva. She was making herself out to be all nice at first, and she's really kind of cold and calculating. She's really kind of mean, or she's really kind of a cheater, or she's really kind of toxic, or she really has all this tons of baggage, and it doesn't fucking work because it blows up because you're not a healed, normal person when you do that. When you run out there for 15 years, like he says, from the time you're 15, 16, 17, when you first start having sex, to the time you're 35 when you get married, right? Like, you're just going to be fine. You're just going to be able to toss all those skeletons aside, and there's going to be no effect, right? There's going to be no baggage. There's going to be no trail off. There's going to be no smoke that's got to clear. I mean, come on, man. Like, probably got debt, probably got STDs, probably got kids in tow. Single moms probably got, all kinds of unresolved feelings for past boyfriends, all kinds of suppressed emotions that she never dealt with from her childhood, or from, like, dude, you're not getting a quality person who's been out riding the cock carousel for 15 years. You are not getting a, grade A, wholesome human being who has your best interest in mind, who's not selfish, who really loves you for you, really treats you for who you really treats you how you should be treated, etc. It's not going to happen, man. This guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. Now, you might get some workable damaged goods, like, okay, she's damaged goods, but we're kind of working it out, and I know she's damaged, and she knows she's damaged, and she's got a past, and she admitted her past. Maybe, but I doubt that shit ain't gonna crop up, and I doubt that your relationship with her is going to be just all about love and all. He's the one, and it's more like, it's like, well, we settled, we both have a past, and we just decided we came together for an arrangement. We came together because we both are adults, and we want to make this an adult relationship. I've seen relationships like that. Now, those can be okay. They can work, but it would be a lot better if you didn't take that long route to find that person. It would be a lot better and some people say things like, well, I wouldn't take any other route because I found the person I love, but I don't hear that a whole lot, first of all. Second of all, wouldn't it be better if you found that person 15 years earlier? Wouldn't it be better if you married that person when they were 20, 25, as opposed to 35, 40? Like, was all your time out there being sexual, being a boss bitch, was that all really worth it? Or I don't know, maybe you just had a great time with everything. Maybe everything was all good and there was no pain, and you never cried, no guy ever broke your heart, and you never hurt anyone, and no STDs, no kids, like everything's just great. Like, I don't know, man. That I could never escape a lot of that shit. I got my heart broke. I got cheated on. I got hurt. I had a lot of scares where women told me they were pregnant, but they weren't, or they thought they were, but they weren't. I had a lot of shit like that happened to me in my dating career, and you know, I call it a career as a joke, but it is like a career because you put in a lot of work, you know, as a man. But anyway, you know, I had all kinds of shit like that. So it's like, how much more would a woman, because her dating experience is amplified because she has way more access to different men, and which means that maybe in the course of 10 years, a woman could go through what a guy would, you know, what would take a regular guy a whole lifetime to go through. You know, in 10 years, a woman could go through 100 guys easily. I was watching this video the other day. They have these porn star Q&A videos on YouTube. You could go watch them. They're kind of interesting. I like hearing different perspectives like that from people who are legitimately successful sex workers, not these OnlyFans wannabes, but like legitimately successful sex workers. You know, porn stars are legitimately successful sex workers. And she said she was introduced, by the time she was introduced to porn, she had slept with over 200 guys, and she was only 18, I swear. And I don't know, that sounds pretty far-fetched, but on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's like, why would she lie about that? Does that really make her better? Is that put her in a better light for porn? So it's like, why would she lie about it? And the way she said it was matter of fact. I mean, 200 guys by the time you're 18. Now, I dated a girl when I was younger who was 18, and I was a couple years older than her. And she was pretty mature for her age, but I asked her once, I said, how many guys have you slept with? And she had kept count. She kept a journal, and she was 18 years old. And I said, well, how many guys have you slept with? And she said 18. She slept with 18 guys by the time she was 18 before she met me. That's pretty lot of fast amount of guys. Now, let's just say she's been having sex since she was 16. So that's 9 guys a year. Let's say she didn't meet me and she just kept going until she was like 30. What is that? That's like 120 guys or something like that, right? So by the time she hits 30, she could be with 120 guys. Now this girl said, you know, this girl was a lot hotter than my ex. This girl was a porn star girl. She was a very hot, like hot, right? 10 out of 10 hot. She said she slept with 200 guys before she was even 18. And I think she said she was from Fort Lauderdale, Florida or something. I forget where she says. Somewhere in Florida. Maybe Orlando, Florida. I forget. But you know, Florida gets kind of crazy down there, you know, particularly during like holidays in Cancun, or you know, it gets to be Cancunish, right? Where girls go crazy and everybody's fucking, there's orgies and shit like that. So maybe she was close to one of those towns. I don't know, but 200 seems like an awful lot. And I read like 5 or 10 years ago, no, about 5 years ago, not 10 years ago. I read about 5 years ago, I read this article that was saying the average amount of guys that a porn star has slept with by the time she enters the adult industry, not exits the adult industry, but enters the adult industry, is 75. 75 different men. That the average is the average number that a woman has slept with when she first enters into the porn star, into the porn industry. 75 average. So they asked a bunch of different women, how many men have you slept with before you entered the industry? And the number was 75. I mean, you can only imagine after. I mean, if they have 10, 15, 20 scenes per month, you can Google this stuff. This information is accessible. If they have 10, 15, 20 scenes a month, how many guys are they sleeping with a year? Hundreds, 200s? No, it's more than that, I think. It's, yeah, maybe hundreds of 200s or something like that. Wow. I mean, come on, man. Like, you're telling me you can't have any negatives about that? And women who are emotionally attached to sex, women who are the emotional creatures, You're telling me you can't, there's no fallout from that. There's no toxicity from that. There's no hurt or pain or negatives from that. Come on, man. Like, what world are you guys living in? And this is our generation. This is the generation that we are going to have to live with this next, this next century. These people are going to be having kids. Who knows how messed up their kids are going to be? I don't know. Like, society doesn't seem too horrible as a whole. It's getting bad as far as the morality goes. Will their kids be more homeless? Will their kids be maladjusted? Like, I can't imagine a woman who slept with a ton of partners having really great kids. I can't imagine that. It's just hard for me to imagine. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just hard. It's like, what do you have to offer your kid? You were a very immoral person for a decade or so of your life, and you're the one who had the choice over whether you get married or not. Men don't. Men, women are the ones who say yes. Women are the ones who hold the power over the sexual market, and no one knows it better than women do. Right? So, come on. Like, you can't blame men. You can't say, oh, well, men were doing it too. No, there's a lot of men out there who want to get married, and you could have found one very easily when you were 20 or 25. Maybe 20 is a little too young, okay, 25. And you didn't have to jump on 85 cocks before you reached 25. You know what I mean? You didn't have to do that. So, this is the result, man. This is a badass comment. I respect this guy. And he's got blue hair, whatever, soy boy, attributes physically, but this guy's been there. He knows what the hell he's talking about. Real shit is real shit. Real people, when a real person speaks, when he speaks from experience, when he speaks some real shit, it transcends all barriers. It transcends all stereotypes. It transcends all ideologies and political affiliation. It transcends all that. When some real shit is said, there's no, it's just real shit. Real shit stands on its own, right? Realness stands on its own. So I give props to this guy. My hat's off to this guy. And that's all I got to say for this video. I just wanted to read that to you guys, and we got, hopefully we can make our next generation better with the red pill truth bombs that we put out there. Hopefully we can create some conscientiousness in our fellow human beings and people from our fellow species, that we can change something that this immoral, feminist, sex positive, degenerate, promiscuous society is producing, right? Anyway, that's all I got to say for now. Appreciate you guys listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.